The number of items for sale in the point shop was small enough to count on one hand. Even with a quick glance, I could immediately tell which item was the most useful. Point shop LV.0. Module compatibility upgrade ticket. Price, 300p. This it. With this, I wouldn't have to abandon the modules I currently possess. I wouldn't need to acquire new compatible combat modules. No, that wasn't all. I could even pull off more scams. For example, I could use powerful modules that previously couldn't be equipped due to incompatibility. This is totally a protagonist ability. In the original novel, The Cyber Module Necromancer, the hero Shade Wells became the sole possessor of the mysterious mystic module Corpse Eater when he adapted to Miyu's nanomachine Pandora. That module granted the cheat-like power to bring the compatibility of every module in existence up to the level of being equipable and usable. In this world, an adaptive's power depends entirely on their modules. In RPG terms, they're equipment items. How strong are the modules you equipped? How many modules have you equipped? How well have you adapted to those modules? Whether you're strong or weak depends on the combination and the stats. So, comparing the protagonist's Corpse Eater to a medieval fantasy setting, it's like being a weapon master capable of wielding every weapon. In other words, if I used this ticket in the shop to make Corpse Eater mine. When that thought surfaced, I shook my head to clear my mind. Too much is as bad as too little. It's fine to grow stronger, but only to the level necessary to protect this body. If I let greed take over, I'll surely end up a villain abandoned by everyone, just like Aaron in the original. That's not the route I want. Besides, the Corpse Eater module was a keepsake left to Shade by his father. He's one of my favorite characters, not just the heroines. I didn't want to earn his enmity just to get stronger, nor did I need to. Even without that, this body is strong. Abundantly so. Let's use the ticket only to reclaim lost power as quickly as possible after receiving Pandora enough to avoid being at the mercy of the Stingray family. As I organized my thoughts, Miyu glanced at me and timidly spoke. "Oh, Aaron." I'd taken a moment to sort through everything. To Miyu, it must have felt like I'd gone silent out of nowhere. I closed the point shop window and resumed the conversation. "It's nothing. So, what other issues are there when receiving Pandora?" Well. Miyu's gaze wavered. It's just that Pandora is out of stock right now." "What?" My brow furrowed involuntarily. Seeing my expression contort, Miyu shrank back and stammered, "Eek. I'm sorry, in apology." Adopting the gentlest voice and expression I could manage, I continued. "I'm not blaming you. I just want to know what it means that there's no stock left." The Bloodfang, they took all the stock. The Bloodfang, the ones who ambushed me earlier from the black market. They've been receiving the nanomachines, modules, and equipment Miyu made. Well, fine, that's how the original story goes. But of all times, at the exact moment I came here, the supply ran out. Talk about bad luck. What should I do? Raid their hideout and steal what they've hoarded? That would be the most certain method, but I didn't want to. I'd already created unnecessary contact by slaughtering some of their lackeys earlier. In a situation where the story was already at risk of derailing, destroying their base outright. Unless I intended to overturn the story completely, that wasn't a good choice. Defeating them should be left to the protagonist, not me. In the original, Shade Wells, having had his life saved by Miyu, discovered she'd been deceived by the Bloodfang into supplying them with weapons. Enraged, he used his newfound power to obliterate the organization and revealed the truth to Miyu. That experience gave Miyu the courage to face the world alongside the protagonists. It's an essential episode that can never be skipped if I'm thinking about what comes later. Of course, in my heart, I wanted to wipe out those gang members immediately. But they aren't fodder to satisfy my bloodlust. They're the catalyst for the growth of the protagonist and Miyu. With that conclusion, I asked Miyu again. How long would it take to produce a new Pandora? About a month, or so. That's a long time. My breath caught at the figure. Could I really survive until then? In the original, I did, but can I rely on that and endure this agony? What if I die for real? As if thinking the same, Miyu spoke hesitantly. As shall I ask them? If I request just one spare nanomachine? No? I rejected her immediately. Miyu didn't know they were an evil organization. She also had no idea I'd already slaughtered 3 of their members before coming here. So she mistakenly believed they'd comply if she politely begged them. She really was clueless. What's the best way to solve my problems without messing up the story? As I pondered, Miu muttered something under her breath that struck my mind like a bolt. The last ampoule of nanomachines I used for shade was the very last one. What? My breath hitched. I thought I heard the crumbling of every plan I'd made. Hoping I'd misheard, I asked Miu. What did you just say? You don't mean Shade Wells, do you? But Miu smiled innocently and answered, as though to shatter my hope completely. Oh, you know Shade? How could it be otherwise? Shade Wells, the protagonist of the cyber module Necromancer. At this point in the original story, Miu shouldn't know him, yet somehow she seemed acquainted with him. How do you know that guy? He came to see me out of the blue 4 days ago and asked for help, so I administered the nanomachine ampoule he requested. Where is he now? Well, he said he was going to talk with the Bloodfang, then left and hasn't returned. Do you think I did something wrong? No? I shook my head. She hadn't done anything wrong. Administering Pandora to the protagonist to make him an adaptive, the awakened protagonist going off to fight the Bloodfang, everything followed the original. But 3 things were strange. First was Miu's testimony. Originally, the protagonist was on the brink of death when Miu saved him, yet she said he came to her. Second was the timing. If my memory was correct, Miu and the protagonist should meet at least 2 weeks later. In the original, they meet 2 weeks before enrollment at Trinity Academy, the main stage, yet a month remained until that enrollment. Somehow, an event due to happen in 2 weeks occurred 4 days ago, around the time I was possessed. And that wasn't all. Third was the protagonist's whereabouts. If, as Miu said, he became an adaptive 4 days ago, the Bloodfang should have been wiped out by his awakened power by now, yet they remained intact, and the protagonist who should have finished the raid and returned was nowhere to be found. What's going on? A butterfly effect from my possession? Or another cause? I'd been holed up in this room, ill, for days. My information was extremely limited. I have a leading hypothesis, but no way to confirm it. There was no answer to be found by pondering. I quickly organized my thoughts and stood. Aaron, if you get up now. Where is their hideout? Their hideout? Miu stammered. Aaron, you're not planning to go to them in your condition, are you? No, you get. I'll explain it to them. Hideout. I urged her curtly. Miu hesitated, on the verge of tears. A holographic window sprang into view before Miu. CCTV footage of the vending machine entrance. Miu's lab entrance began to play. Someone had come. So that bourgeois brat came looking for this place, huh? Yeah, I'm sure. He seemed to be after that modular girl. The vending machine's broken. He must have been here. Be careful. He took out 3 of our guys with a single blade earlier. That is 5 figures who looked like Bloodfang members. They were far better armed than those I saw at the black market, likely there for revenge. Perfect timing. No need to ask Miu. Though I still didn't feel well, I could move. I popped another painkiller and swallowed it, then looked at Miu. Hide where you won't get hurt. Soon there'd be a mess. E-Sector, Industrial Zone 28. The defunct Smile Corporation's synthetic food plant had long since become the Bloodfang's hideout. On the conveyor belts, instead of synthetic protein, lay the arsenal of weapons and nanomachine ampoules Miu had made. Elsewhere, discarded syringes, bottles, and food waste rotted, stinking the place up. Though filthy, the gang members, accustomed to it, gathered without a second thought. At their center, a towering brute well over 2 meters sat on a dilapidated sofa, tinkering with something. It was a human eyeball. More precisely, the artificial eye of the gang member Aaron had turned into meat earlier. The brute succeeded in wiring the artificial eye. At the same moment, a man gripping a sword appeared on its screen. Black hair and golden eyes. His pale skin looked frail, as if he might collapse, yet his handsome face radiated indomitable resolve and sharpness. That man was Aaron Stingray. This little bastard? The one who did this to our guys. Looks like it, boss. The brute called boss studied Aaron's face on the screen and stroked his chin. Why so serious? I feel like I know this face. The boss immediately accessed the police civilian ID database and searched the face. It was an item they acquired by chance. Within seconds, results appeared. The boss's eyes widened. This is insane. The henchmen murmured among themselves. What? Then he's the emperor's son. That bourgeois pig killed our comrade. We must take revenge. Death to the capitalists. Quiet. The boss silenced them with a word. They froze under his overwhelming charisma. When the hideout fell silent, he returned his gaze to Aaron's image. Aaron Stingray, eldest son of the Stingray conglomerate that rules this city. He kept a low profile due to certain issues. Who'd have thought he'd show up here? What now, boss? Do we go kill him immediately? Wait a bit. What? This is a once-in-a-lifetime chance. Let's show the bourgeoisie bastards what we can do. Enough! No matter how large the gang, attacking the Stingray family unprepared was suicide. Yet hold up like frightened rats didn't suit his nature either. Revenge or safety of the organization? The boss weighed his options with uncharacteristic caution, then decided. Prepare the boys. You may. Today, we kill the crown prince. Yes. At his word, the Bloodfang excitedly grabbed their weapons. The boss watched them with a sly grin. To kill the Stingray crown prince. Until recently, such a plan would have been impossible if not for that bastard showing up a few days ago. All thanks to you. Sorry, I didn't catch your name. He spoke toward a corner of the hideout where lay a shredded corpse. That corpse had once been a man called Shade Wells.